Today I'm going to show you what's inside of the Cadillac all-wheel drive system and how it works. So here's the Cadillac CTS transfer case. Now this vehicle, we've got the engine and transmission situated longitudinally, and that's going to feed the transfer case, the output of which is going to be the rear drive shaft going to the rear diff, and the front prop shaft going to the front differential. And for this video we'll focus on the transfer case because that's where the all-wheel drive magic happens. Now the purpose of a transfer case is to transfer torque coming from the transmission over to the front wheels, but it also has to allow for a wheel speed difference between the front and rear. So for example, if I rotate the input here, you'll see my output at the back wheels are rotating, and so is my front wheels. However, I can hold the front wheels stationary and the rear wheels are still allowed to turn. Taking a look around here, this is the rear output. You'll see that we do have two electrical connectors, one for our temperature sensor and one for our clutch. There actually is an integrated oil pump inside of here. We'll start by popping off these drive shaft flanges. Next up, we're going to remove this large weight here, and that's for vibrational dampening. Got a bit of heft to it if you want to do any weight savings. But hey, it's a Cadillac after all. Just going to snip this zip tie here. GM and their zip ties, I don't know what they're thinking. Looks like we got our fill port here and our drain port at the bottom when you want to do transfer case flushes. So I'm going to flip this around here. This is the input from the transmission. It looks like there's green AC dye inside of here. And this is the output going to the front prop shaft. Go ahead and remove all the T40s holding the case together. So here we've got a GM approved transfer case splitter tool here. Alrighty. Okay, it came off in pieces. Taking a look inside this transfer case, it looks pretty simple. We do have a wet clutch pack inside of here. We have our input that comes from the bottom over here from the transmission. This is our output going to the rear wheels. Here's our counter gear and our front prop shaft gear that goes to the front wheels. And inside of the housing, you'll see that there's a Torx, and that Torx corresponds to this one here, which spins the oil pump inside of the casing. Also inside of the casing, there's an electromagnetic clutch, which is what's going to activate this wet clutch over here. Inside the center here, there is a ball ramp. As you can see, there's 3 metal balls, just like that, and they'll just sit in the middle over here with this plate on the other side correspondingly, which have a little ramp on them. Furthermore, inside of here I can pull this piece out. That's kind of the ring that goes around the electromagnet, and we've got some shims over here. We've got 3 10mm nuts. Just going to carefully disconnect that without damaging anything. Now I can pull out the electromagnetic clutch. They are using helical gears. Also, this centerpiece here fell out, which has got the oil galley for the center of this clutch and the oil pump driver. Except we've got an oil baffle plate here. Take off this baffle. Looking a little closer, it looks like we have our oil screen. Here's a little oil screen sock to collect any debris that goes to the oil pump feed over here, as this is the lowest point of the transfer case. Now back over on the other side of the casing here, we've got the oil pump. Now the oil pump is just a very simple elliptical drive where we've got oil in and it's going to be squeezed out so we can go through this tube and lubricate that clutch assembly. Now since this always turns with the counter shaft, that also means that it turns when the front wheels are turning, but not necessarily when the transmission is running, because you could be doing burnouts. Now if we look at where this pipe runs, it goes on the inside of the casing here to this little hole over here where that collar sat. Now this collar here has a little trackway with holes in it that's going to correlate with the hole inside of this stud, which in turn is going to bring fluid to the clutches inside of here to make sure they're nice and cool and well lubricated. So let's take a quick look at how this clutch system works. Now we do have our typical wet clutch system where our friction bands and discs. Then there's this big heavy piece over here. And then there's this thick piece, which is the one that's going to be attracted to the electromagnet. That's externally splined. The next thing we've got is a little wave washer inside of here. Then splined to that is this ball ramp. Now how a ball ramp works is you'll see that in this position, this height here is very small, but as I start to move the ball up the ramp, this height here starts to increase quite a bit. Now we can use that method when applying that clutch. So this is internally toothed, and that's going to go down there on top of that spring. There's going to be a bit of springiness to it. Then I'm going to install this piece, another nice chunk of metal over here. On the back of that's got the other side of the ball ramp system. Put that down over here. And then finally our electromagnet. Remember that these studs here are going to go into the transmission casing, and this does not rotate at all. That sits in between over here. Now on a normal day, you're in rear wheel drive mode, so all the power coming from the input at the bottom there is going straight to the top over here to the rear wheels. That's because it's one solid shaft that links the two. The front wheels are not linked, but they are still going to rotate because there's quite a bit of drag inside of these clutches. Plus also the front drive line is going to be turning these gears as well. So let's say now the transfer case control module wants to command the all-wheel drive to come on for a certain slip condition. Now remember, the electromagnet doesn't spin and everything else does, but once you start applying current to it, it's going to attract this bit of metal as well as that friction plate together and kind of resist turning. However, the rest of the drivetrain is still turning, so what happens is if you look at the vertical distance here, that ball ramp is going to start kicking in, and as you can see, it's sort of rising, and that becomes thicker. However, in reality, since this is actually mounted to the transfer case, it's going to push down on that spring and also push down on those clutches, so that vertical motion is now squeezing those clutches together, engaging that clutch, and therefore transferring torque from the input to the front wheels. So in essence, it's using this ball ramp system here to create that squishing pressure and not the actual electromagnet itself pressing down against these clutches. Now because the current is variable and the motion of these balls are variable, you can now vary how much these clutches get squished down. So the more you squish them, the more torque you're taking away from the input shaft, sending it over to the front wheel. So let's open this back up. Here's your ball ramp. Take off this big plate here for the electromagnet. Then we've got this piece here, which is sort of our apply plate that goes directly onto these clutches. These are very simple wet clutches that you use in any automatic transmission. You can see this is the friction material here. I can still read the writing. I bet this person did not even use their all-wheel drive system. You can see the steel bands here have some wear on them. Those ones are externally splined, while the internally splined ones here are the friction discs. Yeah, there's more wear on the steels than the actual frictions. There's your wave washer. Now this is our input shaft at the bottom, which becomes the output going to the rear wheels, and the front wheels are now free to turn. Now some people like to go into drift mode and disable the all-wheel drive system, even if you disconnect this electromagnet. And you can see there was still a lot of drag in those clutches, which means that you're going to have a lot of relative motion between the frictions and the disc. You potentially still could wear it out even though it's not activated. That snap ring wasn't too difficult. Now I can get this gear off. This was toothed to the inside of the friction disc. And then this piece pops off. This was toothed to the outside of those steel bands. And as you can see, it's also internally toothed over here to this counter gear, which goes to the front wheel. It's so quiet. It's nice that they use helical cut gears so that they don't have to make too much noise, as opposed to straight gears. And just take off the counter over here. And that's got a bearing there, and this is the oil pump drive. Alright, I was able to snap that snap ring off of there. You'll see this is basically the first counter gear that goes to the front wheels, and it free spins on this shaft over here. And this shaft is what's coming from the transmission. This one goes to the rear wheels. So there's always a direct solid connection between the transmission and the rear wheels. There's no turning the rear wheels off like you could turn off the front wheels like I did just now. Take a look at how this Cadillac all-wheel drive system works. Essentially your vehicle is going to be moving straight down the road, and it could be in either rear wheel or all-wheel drive depending on what your wife cooked for dinner last night. Now when you take a little turn over here, the dynamic system is going to turn that transfer case off, because you don't want binding between the front and rear wheels. They're going to be moving at different speeds when you're taking a corner. Now let's say you took that corner a little too hard now, and now your car starts to drift. Well, what happens is your all-wheel drive system can also help you with handling by turning on that transfer case clutch, essentially stealing torque from the rear wheels and now putting it to the front wheels, in this case braking the inside wheel and putting more torque on the front left wheel to kind of give you that rotational moment you need to get out of that slide. Now in terms of torque split, as the vehicle is driving down the road with the clutch off, the maximum torque is going to go to the rear at 100%. However, once you turn the clutch all the way on, the maximum torque split could be 50-50. Now just because you got a solid piece going from the transmission to the rear wheels, that doesn't mean that you can't transfer all the torque to the front wheels. For example, if you're on ice, because torque is equal to force times distance, the force on the ice is going to be 0 because your wheels are just spinning there. You engage the clutch all the way, and then all of the torque is now going to be transferred to the front wheels despite the rear wheels still spinning. Now sometimes you worry your transfer case clutches might wear out, especially if you turn on and off all-wheel drive all the time. But you gotta remember, these are actually moving in fluid, and they're also spinning pretty close to each other's speed. There's not a lot of slip that happens between the two. And that's because your front drive line is also spinning, your rear drive line is also spinning. As long as these are on same dry pavement, this whole entire thing is actually going to be spinning together at pretty much the same rate. The only way you can really fry this transfer case clutch is if your rear wheels are spinning and you're trying to engage the front wheels such as if you're in a burnout situation, or if you're towing the car in its front wheels, which are completely stopped, and the rear wheels are moving. And that's a look at the Cadillac all-wheel drive system. I have to say this system is very similar to Infiniti's ATTESA all-wheel drive system with the electromagnetic clutch and the ball ramp system. Now in the Lexus systems you're using hydraulically activated clutch. BMW's X-drives use a servo motor to squish together. Meanwhile Mercedes uses a planetary gear set with spring pressure to push this together. And Audi Quattro and Subaru Symmetrical all-wheel drive system use a planetary center differential with not much computer input to control it all. Hey, we almost forgot to take apart this front differential. Let's just take a peek inside. Got my GM approved transmission splitter tool here. Luckily I remembered to drain the oil out of that one. Okay, this just pops through. I got a better video on how these open differentials work, but man, this one's really stiff. Essentially we've got our driver's side output over here, passenger side output over here. And this is our big dog gear, I like to call it. And our pinion gear, which is the one inside of this casing, is the one that's going to bring power from that prop shaft. Little spider gears inside of here are what's going to split torque between side to side. Most of the time this thing's moving as one unit, but if one wheel is on ice or if we're taking a turn, we do need a difference in wheel speed, and that's what differentials do. So next time it's snowing outside, think of all these components that have to work really hard to get you out of that snow, and subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this one.